Hello everybody, this is Richard Staschy from Tankard of Tales, and this is going to be a very short video. I was hoping to have a video out a couple weeks ago on a different Stanley Kubrick film. This one is from the 1962 Lolita, and it's a kind of a funny story how I decided to jump into this rabbit hole. Um, it started when I was watching another YouTuber talking about the book Lolita and how the two movies or adaptations kind of failed the book. And this YouTuber described that the Lolita book totally different compared to what I remembered hearing about. Um, and I didn't think about ever reading Lolita book, and the impression that I got from the 1990s is that it's a story about these two men in their 30s and a little bit of a war going on for the attraction of a very young girl that's in a very young age. And it was like a type of story that I did not want to bother looking into, watching, or reading about. But the way how um, this YouTuber explained the book, he explained it that the book was done by an unreliable narrator, and the character Humford is a let's just say an evil snake, and my eyes expanded when I heard him say that this was done by an unreliable narrator, and I just felt like if, based on my understanding about Stanley Kubrick, if he is a avid reader and he did a lot of research, I I don't see how he would miss the opportunity to do an unreliable narrator in the 1962 film. And sure enough, in the first 10 minutes of the movie, I saw the signs. Now, I'm not going to try to say I cracked the Lolita code, but I do have a sneaky suspicion that the story itself is definitely not what you think it is. And if you have read the book, you would get a better impression about the story itself. And I know that a lot of people that read the book say otherwise, that the Stanley Kubrick film is way off, not even connected with the book. And I feel like that's because they have not been in the school of The Shining. What I meant by the school of The Shining is that I've been so wrapped up in the Shining rabbit hole for almost 3 years, learning everything about the continuity differences, which I'm going to be calling it from now on. Differences, the continuity differences between the shots in the story, and I learned so much in the from The Shining is that it was really uncanny, or maybe um, maybe artful. I'm not even sure what would be the word for it, but I kind of noticed a few things. Um, most notably, if you, or most notably, or most, um, the easiest one to identify, I would say, is the toast. If you sit down and watch Lolita and you watch the scene where Doris Hayes enters the room with Humford and brings up his breakfast up there, and she's eating a white toast, and then when she sits down at the windowsill, and then eventually it changes from white toast to more like a burnt type toast. Her attitude also shifts. And this was definitely an indication, and very easy to spot indication that what is going on. I mean, the scene that we're seeing is not really what Doris Hayes is doing to Humphrey. She's not feeding him the egg per se. More like this was his imagination, his hallucination, his fantasy, whatever you want to consider to call it at the time. Call it. This is what his impression of what she's doing to him is, giving him this egg to eat. And there's a lot other incidences that I've seen throughout the movie, which leads me to ask a question on Reddit, about how um, how much can we trust if the book is from an unreliable narrator. And the question that I was leaning towards is like, my feeling is that Doris Hayes' mother, Charlotte, was murdered by Humphrey. Now, I'll talk more into that later in other videos, but I just wanted to point out that my gut feeling in the movie is that he murdered her, and I could see the signs in it. And definitely when I asked the question, a lot of people were like, no, I'm totally wrong. But while reading the book, and I have this very interesting version of the book, and what's really awesome is that this book is from 1959, so this is an earlier print that came out compared to the this is an earlier print before the 1962 movie, which is great in my opinion. It doesn't have any anything linking towards the Stanley Kubrick film, which is great, and it also smells very old. And the best part is, like, I got this off of eBay and it's a lot cheaper than the actual, if I bought a newer version of it. So anyway, I end up getting the book, and I'm reading through the book itself. I'm not really a fast reader, so it's going to take me a while, and I might actually do a breakdown in the book too. And also in the book, I would say that I kind of feel that Charlotte Hayes was murdered by Humphrey, even in the book itself. And the beautiful thing is that neither the book nor the movie actually shows it that he killed her, but you get the impression through some of the clues throughout the story that that's what happened. And there's a lot more darker things that I've ran across, and I would like to talk about it, but I just haven't really finished the book itself. I did clue in to Miss M about some of the stuff that I've ran across into Lolita story, and I do like to talk to her about this because I do know that she keeps a really good secret. We do keep secrets amongst each others, which is great. And since I saw that one YouTube video where this guy was basically taking credit from Rob Navarro's Windy Theory, I just feel like having somebody to trust to talk to, keeping a secret, is pretty valuable at the moment. And sure enough, you could always, if anyone wants to talk to me back and forth or PM me, you could PM me through Twitter or the X, whatever you guys want to call it these days. I'm over there, and I do enjoy the idea of PMing back and forth over there a lot. So anyway, I'll clue you in on more about the Lolita movie as well as the Lolita book. And I do want to say, even though a lot of people seem to think that the Stanley Kubrick film is not like the book, I kind of want to argue differently, and and hopefully I'll be able to present my arguments in some up and coming videos. That's not going to be a long time to wait. um, these are going to be very time consuming to make because there's a lot of things to go through. And as it stands right now, I would hold Lolita, the 1962 film, right under The Shining in fascination. I am totally fascinated by this movie. I think I actually saw it like 3 times, and I thought the first time when I was going to watch it was going to be a chore, and it wasn't. So if you haven't watched the movie, I highly recommend it. And if you are very in tune with the what's going on with the stuff that we've been talking about in The Shining, or you've been watching Miss M's videos on The Shining, as we talk about the continuity differences between the scenes. If you keep your eye on these things, you would also see a different type of story. And if you have read the book, you'll you'll pretty much see that they're kind of the same story. It's just basically you can't trust the narrator in in the Lolita story, and definitely cannot trust the narrator that you're seeing in the movie too. Anyway, this is Richard Staschy from Tankard of Tales, and sorry about for a long wait, but hopefully we'll get another video soon. Thank you.